The mining vessel Resilient drifted slowly through the asteroid field, its powerful spotlights cutting through the darkness of deep space. Captain James Walker stood at the bridge, his experienced eyes scanning the sea of rocks floating past their reinforced windows. The ship's name fit well. She wasn't pretty or fast, but she could take a beating and keep working. "Captain, I'm picking up some strange readings," Tom, the sensor operator, called out from his station. His fingers moved quickly across the glowing screen. "Metal signatures, but they're not matching any known asteroid compositions." Walker walked over to Tom's station, his magnetic boots clicking against the metal floor. The sensor display showed 15 large objects scattered throughout the asteroid field. They were too uniform in shape to be natural. "Those aren't rocks," Walker said, scratching his gray beard. "Those are ships." The bridge crew fell silent. In 20 years of deep space mining, they had never encountered another spacefaring species. They had heard rumors, of course. Every spacer had stories about mysterious lights or unexplained signals. But this was different. This was real. "Get us closer," Walker ordered. "But keep the mining lasers powered down. We don't want to look threatening." The Resilient moved carefully through the asteroid field, its experienced crew navigating the dangerous space with practiced ease. As they got closer, their spotlights revealed the alien ships. They were beautiful, sleek vessels with crystalline structures growing from their hulls, like flowers made of light and metal. But something was wrong. The ships were dark, their crystals giving off only a faint glow. They were drifting, their movements uncontrolled. "They're dead in space," Linda, the engineering chief, said from her station. "Those crystal structures, they look like some kind of power system, but they're barely functioning." Walker made his decision. "Send out a general hail. All frequencies, simple audio only." The communications officer, Mike, nodded and pressed a few buttons. "This is human mining vessel Resilient. We've noticed your ships appear to be in distress. Do you need assistance?" For a long moment, there was only silence. Then the radio crackled. "This is High Commander Bright Star of the Starborn Fleet." A voice responded in perfect English. "Our universal translators still function, though little else does. We appreciate your concern, but our technology is far beyond your understanding. We cannot risk damage to our quantum crystalline cores through improper handling." Walker could hear the pride in the alien commander's voice, but he could also hear something else. Fear. "Commander," Walker replied, keeping his voice steady and professional, "we may not understand your quantum cores, but we know these asteroid fields. We've been mining them for decades. At least let us help you plot a safe course out." Another pause. "Our ships cannot move," Bright Star finally admitted. "A quantum storm damaged our drive systems 3 months ago. We've been trapped here since then, trying to repair our systems, but something in these asteroids interferes with our technology." Walker looked at Linda, who was already analyzing the data from their scans. She nodded slowly. "Commander," Walker said, "we're detecting high concentrations of rare earth metals in these asteroids. They might be affecting your quantum systems. We can't fix your drives, but we might be able to help you get out of this field. We have strong cables, powerful engines, and most importantly, experience moving heavy objects through asteroid fields. You propose to tow our ships." Bright Star's voice carried disbelief. "With mining equipment? Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones," Walker replied. "And right now, a simple solution that works is better than a complex one that doesn't." The silence stretched longer this time. Walker could imagine the alien commander struggling with the decision, accepting help from a species that must seem primitive to them. Finally, Bright Star spoke again. "Our life support systems are failing. We have lost 3 backup systems already. The primary systems will begin failing in 72 hours. We accept your assistance, Captain Walker of the Resilient." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "We'll start working on a plan right away. Send us your ship's specifications, mass, hull strength, anything you can share. We'll figure this out together." As the bridge crew began their work, Walker looked out at the graceful alien ships, trapped among the asteroids like birds caught in a net. They would save them, he decided, not with quantum crystals or advanced technology, but with steel cables, fusion drives, and human determination. The rescue operation was about to begin. The Resilience main conference room was crowded with both human crew members and 3 starborn representatives who had shuttled over in their last working escape pod. The aliens were tall and slender, with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer in the ship's lighting. They wore flowing robes embedded with the same crystalline structures that adorned their ships. Captain Walker stood at the front of the room, studying the holographic display of the starborn fleet's current situation. Beside him, Linda pointed at the complex readings from their scans. "The problem is worse than we thought," she said, her face grave. "Those rare earth metals in the asteroids aren't just interfering with their systems. They're actively draining power from their quantum cores." One of the starborn, who had introduced himself as Technical Master Clearthought, nodded slowly. "This is correct. Our cores draw energy from quantum fluctuations in spacetime. But these minerals," he gestured at the display, "they create a dampening field. Each attempt to power up our drives only drains our reserves faster." Walker looked at the power consumption charts. "How long until the first ship loses life support?" 68 hours remaining," Clearthought replied. His voice was calm, but his long fingers tapped nervously against the conference table. "The civilian transport will fail first. It carries 200 of our people." The room fell silent. 200 lives. And that was just the first ship. Tom pulled up a new display showing the asteroid field's density map. "The good news is we've mapped a path out. The bad news is it's narrow. Really narrow. We'll have to thread 15 ships through a gap barely wide enough for 2. Linda stepped forward, her work tablet in hand. "We've analyzed their hull structure. Their ships are tough, maybe tougher than ours, but the connection points are tricky. We can't just attach cables anywhere. It has to be perfect, or we risk damaging their hulls. The quantum crystals make it more complicated," Clearthought added. "They are sensitive. A wrong vibration could shatter them." If that happens, he didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone understood that broken quantum cores would be catastrophic. Walker turned to the second starborn. "Shield Master Brighthope, what about your defensive systems? Can they help clear a wider path?" Brighthope's silver face showed what might have been embarrassment. "Our energy weapons require quantum core power. They are inactive. We cannot even raise our shields. So we're doing this the old-fashioned way," Walker said, bringing up an image of the Resilience mining equipment. "We've got 4 heavy-duty towing cables, each rated for pulling asteroids 10 times the mass of your largest ship. We've also got precision mining lasers we can use to clear some of the smaller rocks." The third starborn, Journey Master Farseeker, spoke for the first time. "Your equipment is primitive, but I must admit, its simplicity might be an advantage here. It cannot be affected by the quantum dampening field." Linda pulled up the specifications for their modified towing system. "We'll need to attach these connection points to your ships. They're electromagnetic clamps, cushioned to prevent hull stress. We'll start with the civilian transport since it's most critical. The timing has to be perfect," Tom added. "We'll only get one shot at this. Once we start moving, the shifts in the asteroid field could close our exit path." Walker looked at each person in the room. "I won't lie. This is going to be the toughest operation we've ever attempted. We'll need perfect coordination between our crew and the starborn ships. One mistake, one wrong move, and we could lose everything." Clearthought stood, his tall frame casting a long shadow. "We are not accustomed to relying on others, especially those with lesser technology. But we are also not fools. We can see that your experience in these conditions, combined with your simple but reliable tools, offers our best chance of survival. Then let's get to work, Walker said firmly. Linda, start modifying the clamps. Tom, I want constant updates on that exit path. Clear thought, we'll need your people to guide us on the safest connection points for your ships. As the meeting broke up and people hurried to their tasks, Walker caught a glimpse of the starborn ships through the conference room's window. They looked like dying stars, their crystalline cores growing dimmer by the hour. The rescue would push his ship and crew to their limits, but that's what humans did best, finding ways to overcome impossible challenges. The clock was ticking. They had less than 3 days to save thousands of lives. Linda's workshop aboard the Resilient looked like organized chaos. Mining cables snaked across the floor, tools floated in the low-gravity section, and holographic displays showed complex calculations covering every wall. She stood in the middle of it all, her hands deep in the guts of a modified electromagnetic clamp. "Pass me the pulse modulator," she called out to Clear Thought, who hovered nearby, watching her work with a mixture of curiosity and concern. The tall alien handed her the tool, his silvery fingers careful not to touch any of the equipment directly. "Your methods are unexpected," Clear Thought observed as Linda attached power cables to the clamp. "You are modifying industrial equipment to interface with our quantum technology. This should not be possible." Linda smiled as she made another adjustment. "Sometimes the best solutions come from thinking outside the box. Your ship's hulls may be advanced, but they're still metal, and we humans have been working with metal for thousands of years." In another corner of the workshop, Tom and Shield Master Bright Hope were running simulations on a smaller screen. The display showed various paths through the asteroid field, each one calculated to the meter. "If we time the pulses from the electromagnetic clamps just right," Tom explained, pointing to the screen, "we can create a resonance that actually helps stabilize your quantum cores instead of disrupting them." Bright Hope's eyes widened. "You discovered this through trial and error." "Best way to learn anything," Tom replied with a shrug. "We've been pulling asteroids apart and putting mining rigs together in deep space for decades. You learn a lot about how energy fields interact when you're trying not to blow yourself up." Captain Walker entered the workshop, ducking under a floating cable. "How's it coming along?" Linda held up the modified clamp. "First one's ready for testing. We've adapted it to create a cushioning field that should protect their quantum crystals from any shock during the TOW. The design is crude," Clear Thought said, "but the underlying principles are surprisingly sound. We would never have considered using electromagnetic fields in this way." "Sometimes being crude is an advantage," Walker replied. "Complex solutions have more points of failure. Right now, we need something that just works." The ship's intercom crackled. "Captain to the bridge. We're picking up some strange readings from the asteroid field." Walker rushed to the bridge, followed by the others. The main screen showed a disturbing sight. The asteroids were starting to shift position. "The field is becoming unstable," Journey Master Farseeker announced from his position near the science station. "The quantum dampening effect is creating microgravitational fluctuations. We have less time than we thought." Linda checked her tablet. "The civilian transport's power levels are dropping faster too. New estimate. We've got maybe 40 hours, not 68. Walker didn't hesitate. "Then we test the clamp now." "Linda, is it ready?" She nodded, already heading for the airlock. "I'll suit up and attach it myself. I need to see exactly how it interacts with their hull." "I will accompany you," Clear Thought said. "My knowledge of our hull structure could be vital." 20 minutes later, Linda and Clear Thought floated near the civilian transport's hull, their spacesuits stark against the darkness of space. Linda carefully positioned the modified clamp, while Clear Thought monitored the quantum crystal reactions with a handheld device. "Easy, easy," Linda muttered as she activated the clamp. The device hummed to life, its electromagnetic field spreading across the alien hull like ripples in a pond. The quantum crystals nearest to the clamp flickered briefly, then steadied. "Remarkable," Clearthought's voice came through the radio. The field is actually helping to stabilize our core. The power drain has decreased by 12% in this section. Linda grinned inside her helmet. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. Tom, are you getting these readings? Crystal clear. Tom's voice replied from the bridge. The resonance is perfect. We can start manufacturing more clamps right away. Walker's voice joined the conversation. Good work, both of you. Get back inside. We've got 3 more clamps to modify, and time's running out. Once they're ready, we'll start with the civilian transport. Those 200 people are our first priority. As Linda and Clearthought headed back to the airlock, she glanced at the massive alien ship beside them. The quantum crystals gleamed weakly in the starlight, like dying embers waiting to be rekindled. They would save these people, she thought, not with quantum mechanics or advanced alien science, but with human ingenuity and good old-fashioned engineering. The real work was about to begin. The bridge of the Resilient was silent except for the soft beeping of equipment and the quiet hum of the ship's engines. Captain Walker stood at his command station, watching as his crew made final preparations for their first rescue attempt. All 4 modified clamps are in position on the civilian transport, Linda reported from her engineering station. Her face showed the strain of 20 hours of non-stop work, but her voice remained steady. Tom's fingers flew across his console. Exit path is mapped and locked in. We've got a 90-minute window before the asteroid field shifts again. Walker nodded and opened a channel to the alien ship. Clearthought, what's your status? Power levels are at 18% and falling. The alien's voice crackled through the speakers. The clamps appear to be helping stabilize our core, but we cannot restore full power. We are ready for your attempt. Walker took a deep breath. They would be trying to tow a ship larger than anything they'd ever moved before, using modified mining equipment in ways it was never designed for. One mistake could tear the alien vessel apart. Begin power-up sequence for the towing cables, he ordered. Linda, monitor those clamp resonance patterns. Tom, I want constant updates on our path clearance. The Resilient's powerful mining cables, now connected to the electromagnetic clamps, began to hum with energy. On the main screen, they could see the cables glowing softly in the darkness of space, creating a web of light between the 2 ships. Cable tension at 10%, Linda reported. Clamps are holding steady. Quantum crystal response is stable. 20%, she continued after a moment. No signs of stress on their hull. Clearthought's voice came through again. Our internal sensors are detecting no harmful resonance patterns. Your primitive solution appears to be working. 30% tension, Linda called out. We're starting to take the weight. The Resilient's engines growled louder as they began to pull against the mass of the alien ship. The mining vessel shuddered slightly, its frame dealing with forces it wasn't quite designed to handle. 40%, 50%. Linda's voice was tense. The clamps are holding. Crystal stability is good. Suddenly, a warning light flashed on Tom's console. Asteroid movement detected. A cluster of small rocks is drifting into our path. Walker didn't hesitate. Fire mining lasers. Clear us a path. The Resilient's precision mining lasers fired, their bright beams slicing through space. The smaller asteroids shattered into harmless pieces, clearing the way ahead. Path is clear, Tom reported. But we've got more movement throughout the field. The window for our exit route is shrinking. Take us to 70% cable tension, Walker ordered. We need to move now. The engine's roar increased as the cables pulled tighter. The alien ship began to move, ever so slowly at first, then with increasing speed. It's working, Linda exclaimed. The civilian transport is maintaining structural integrity. Quantum crystal response is still stable. Through the bridge windows, they could see the massive alien vessel beginning to follow their path. Its crystalline structures flickered with slightly more life as the electromagnetic clamps helped stabilize its failing systems. Remarkable. Clearthought's voice held a note of surprise. Our internal systems are actually drawing power from your electromagnetic field harmonics. We had not thought such a thing possible with your level of technology. Sometimes the old ways work best, Walker replied, allowing himself a small smile. Tom, how's our exit route looking? Timing will be tight, but we can make it. The path is still stable enough for the next 30 minutes. Journey Master Farseeker, Walker called to the starborn officer aboard the Resilient. Once we clear the asteroid field, where should we position your ship? There is a clear space approximately 200,000 kilometers beyond the field's edge, Farseeker replied. From there, we can attempt to restore our quantum cores without interference. The next 20 minutes passed in tense concentration as the Resilient carefully guided the alien ship through the treacherous asteroid field. Every few minutes, they had to fire the mining lasers to clear small rocks from their path, but the cables and clamps held firm. Finally, Tom looked up from his console with a grin. We're clear. The civilian transport is out of the asteroid field. A cheer went up from the bridge crew. Even the usually stoic starborn representatives showed signs of relief. Well done, everyone, Walker said, but quickly raised his hand for attention. But let's not celebrate too much yet. We've still got 14 more ships to save, and time is running out for all of them. The crew sobered quickly, but there was new confidence in their movements. They had proved their primitive solution could work. Now they just had to do it 14 more times. After successfully moving 3 more starborn ships out of the asteroid field, the crew of the Resilient worked tirelessly to prepare for the next rescue. But space had other plans for them. Captain, Tom's urgent voice cut through the tired silence of the bridge. Long-range sensors are picking up something big. Really big. Walker rushed to the sensor station, his tired muscles protesting after 36 hours without rest. The display showed a massive asteroid, easily twice the size of the Resilient, tumbling toward the stranded fleet. How long? Walker demanded. 20 minutes until impact, Tom replied, his face pale. It's spinning too, creating a debris field around it. Our usual mining lasers won't be enough to break this one up. Journey Master Farseeker floated nearby, his silver skin dulled with fatigue. Our remaining ships cannot move. Their power levels are too low to even maintain stable life support, let alone raise defensive shields. Linda's voice crackled over the intercom from the engine room. Captain, we've got another problem. The Resilient's main drive is overheating from all the heavy towing. We need at least an hour to cool it down. Walker looked at the main screen, watching the massive asteroids approach. 11 starborn ships remained in the field, each carrying hundreds of lives. The successful rescue of 4 ships meant nothing if they lost the rest now. What about our mining charges? He asked suddenly. The ones we use for breaking up the really big rocks. Linda's voice perked up. We've got 6 heavy charges left. But Captain, they're designed for controlled demolition. Using them on a moving asteroid that size could be our only chance, Walker finished. He turned to Tom. Can you calculate the exact points where we'd need to place those charges to split that rock? Tom's fingers flew across his console. Maybe, yes. If we placed them precisely along these coordinates, we could split it into smaller pieces, but someone would have to manually place the charges. The asteroid's spinning too fast for automated placement. Clearthought, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. This is madness. The precision required, the risk, is better than watching thousands die. Walker cut him off. He hit the ship-wide comm. I need volunteer pilots for the maintenance pods. We've got to place explosive charges on a spinning asteroid. Within minutes, 4 crew members had volunteered. Walker himself would pilot the 5th pod. They suited up quickly while Linda prepared the mining charges. Remember, Walker briefed them in the launch bay. We're not trying to destroy it. We just need to break it up enough to scatter the pieces away from the fleet. Tom will guide us to the exact spots. The 5 small maintenance pods launched from the Resilient, each carrying a powerful mining charge. They looked tiny against the approaching asteroid, like flies buzzing around a falling boulder. Pod 2, 3 degrees left. Tom's voice guided them. Pod 4, you need to go deeper into that crater. Captain, your position is perfect. The asteroid's rotation made their work incredibly difficult. Each pilot had to match the spin just to stay in position, using their pod's small thrusters with precision that would have impressed even the Starborn. 2 minutes until potential impact, Farseeker announced, his voice tense. Charges placed. Walker called out. Everyone pull back. Tom, start the countdown. The maintenance pods scrambled away from the asteroid. On the bridge, both humans and Starborn watched the main screen with held breath. Detonation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The charges exploded simultaneously. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent grace possible only in space, the massive asteroid split into 5 pieces. The fragments began to drift apart, their paths carrying them safely past the stranded fleet. A cheer erupted on the bridge. Even the Starborn representatives allowed themselves to show relief. Impossible, Clear Thought whispered. The calculations, the precision of placement, the timing, all done with such basic tools and technology. Walker pulled himself back onto the bridge, removing his helmet. Not impossible, just really good mining engineers who've had a lot of practice. Now, let's get back to work. We've still got 11 ships to save, and our time's running out. He looked at his crew, seeing the exhaustion in their faces, but also the determination. They had just turned a mining disaster into a rescue mission. Now they had to finish what they started. The clock showed 28 hours remaining before the next Starborn ship would lose life support completely. The race against time continued. After the asteroid crisis, Captain Walker knew they needed a new approach. They couldn't afford to rescue the remaining ships one at a time. They simply didn't have enough hours left. We need to do something crazy, Linda said during the emergency meeting. She had dark circles under her eyes, but her mind was still sharp. We need to tow multiple ships at once. The Starborn representatives stirred uneasily. The strain on your vessel, Clear Thought began, will be massive, Linda finished, but we've got no choice. The next 3 ships will lose life support within 2 hours of each other. We can't save them one by one anymore. Walker studied the holographic display showing their remaining mining cables and electromagnetic clamps. How many ships could we safely tow at once? Linda ran some quick calculations on her tablet. With our remaining power, maybe 3. We'd have to modify our engine cooling system, run everything at maximum, and pray nothing breaks. Your ship cannot survive such stress, Journey Master Farseeker protested. The power requirements alone will be handled, Tom interrupted, looking up from his console. We can route emergency power from every non-essential system. Life support, engines, and towing cables get priority. Everything else goes dark. Walker nodded slowly. How long to make the modifications? 2 hours, Linda replied. Maybe less if the Starborn engineers help us reconfigure the power distribution. Clear Thought stepped forward. You would trust us with your ship's systems. Right now, Walker said, we're all in this together. We either work together or we fail together. The next 2 hours were a blur of activity. The Resilience corridors went dark as power was diverted to the engines. The crew worked by emergency lighting, their faces illuminated by the glow of tablets and control panels. Starborn engineers worked alongside humans, their advanced knowledge of energy systems helping to optimize the Resilience power grid. Human ingenuity combined with alien expertise created solutions neither species would have thought of alone. Cable network is ready, Linda reported from engineering. We've got 3 primary towing arrays, each supporting 2 secondary cables. Total capacity for 7 ships at once. Walker stood on his darkened bridge, lit only by essential displays. Begin attachment sequence. Start with the ship's lowest on power. The next hour was the most delicate operation yet. The Resilient had to maintain perfect position while extending multiple cable networks, each one ending in an electromagnetic clamp that had to be precisely placed on the alien ship's hulls. First array attached, Tom called out. Ships 1 through 3 are locked in. Second array engaging, Linda added. 4 through 6, locked. Final ship. Walker watched as the last cable network extended. Locked. All 7 ships are secured. Clear Thought monitored the quantum crystal readings. The power drain is significant, but your electromagnetic field network is helping stabilize our cores. We may survive this. All ships, this is Captain Walker, he announced over the fleet-wide channel. We're going to start moving. Everyone hold on. This might get rough. The Resilient's engines roared to life, straining against the combined mass of 7 massive alien ships. The mining vessel shuddered, its frame creaking under forces it was never designed to handle. Hull stress at 80%. Linda's voice was tense. Engines are running hot. Cable tension holding, Tom reported. Course is plotted through the widest part of the gap. Slowly, impossibly, the entire formation began to move. The Resilient led the way, pulling its chain of alien ships through the asteroid field like a space-age tugboat. First obstacle coming up, Tom warned. Firing mining lasers. The Resilient's lasers cut through space, clearing their path of smaller asteroids. The formation moved with agonizing slowness, but it moved steadily. Engine temperature critical. Linda shouted after 20 minutes. Cooling systems are failing. We're almost there, Walker encouraged. Just a few more minutes. The bridge crew watched as their small ship pulled its massive burden through the last stretch of the asteroid field. Warning lights flashed across every console, and the ship's frame groaned in protest. Finally, Tom's exhausted voice called out, We're clear. All 7 ships are out of the field. The cheer that went up was weak. Everyone was too tired for more. But the pride was unmistakable. They had just accomplished something that should have been impossible. Walker allowed himself a small smile before speaking. Good work, everyone. But we're not done yet. We've still got 4 ships to save, and we're not leaving anyone behind. The crew straightened in their seats, ready to continue. They had proved that human determination, combined with cooperation between species, could overcome any obstacle. Now they just had to prove it one more time. 3 days after the rescue began, the last starborne ship cleared the asteroid field. The Resilient floated alongside the alien fleet, its hull scared and engines barely functioning, but its mission accomplished. Not a single life had been lost. Captain Walker stood in the starborne flagship's grand meeting chamber, now restored to full power. The room sparkled with crystalline light, and the gathered starborne council members sat in ornate chairs that seemed to grow from the floor itself. His own crew stood behind him, their mining uniforms looking out of place among the elegant alien designs. High Commander Bright Star rose from the central seat. Unlike their first communication, the alien leader now faced Walker in person. Captain Walker of the mining vessel Resilient. Bright Star's voice carried through the chamber. We find ourselves in an unprecedented situation. Walker stood straight, despite his exhaustion. Sir, in all our recorded history, spanning 10,000 years of space travel, the Starborn have never required rescue. Bright Star's silver skin shimmered as they moved. We have certainly never been saved by a species we considered technologically inferior. Linda shifted uncomfortably behind Walker, but remained silent. And yet, Bright Star continued, when our quantum cores failed, when our advanced shields proved useless, it was your primitive mining vessel that saved our entire fleet, with nothing more than cables, clamps, and courage. Clear Thought stepped forward. We have analyzed your methods. The way you modified simple electromagnetic fields to stabilize our quantum crystals. It should not have worked. Yet it did. We would never have considered such a solution, precisely because it was too Basic. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones, Walker replied. All we did was apply what we knew about mining to a different kind of problem. Journey Master Farseeker joined the conversation. That is precisely the point, Captain. Your species has something we have forgotten in our pursuit of advanced technology. The ability to adapt, to see old tools in new ways. While we were trapped by our assumptions about what advanced technology should do, you simply focused on what would work. The Starborn Council has reached a decision, Bright Star announced. We wish to establish a formal technological exchange program with Earth. A murmur of surprise ran through both the human crew and the assembled Starborn. But not just to share our advanced technology with you, Bright Star clarified. We wish to learn from you as well. Your practical experience, your creative problem solving, your ability to achieve incredible results with limited resources. These are things our people need to remember. Tom whispered to Linda, did they just say they want to learn from us? Bright Star continued, we will share our quantum technology, our advanced material science. In return, we ask that you teach us your mining techniques, your emergency procedures, your ways of thinking about problems. Perhaps together, we can combine the best of both approaches. Walker looked at his crew, seeing the pride in their tired faces. We would be honored, he replied. There is one more thing, Clear Thought added. We have also learned that true advancement comes not just from technology, but from the heart and spirit of those who use it. Your crew risked everything to save people you had never met, using every tool at your disposal, no matter how simple it might have seemed. That's just what humans do, Walker said simply. We help where we can, with whatever we have. And that, Bright Star concluded, may be the most valuable lesson of all. The ceremony concluded with both humans and Starborn sharing a meal together. Another first in Starborn history. As Walker looked around the room, he saw his engineers deep in discussion with Starborn scientists, sharing ideas and solving problems together. The Resilient would need weeks of repairs before it could return to mining operations. But as Walker watched the interaction between the two species, he knew they had gained something far more valuable than any mineral they might have mined. They had gained new allies, new friends, and a new understanding that sometimes the greatest achievements come not from having the most advanced technology, but from having the wisdom to use whatever tools you have in creative ways. As the stars shone through the flagship's crystal windows, human ingenuity and alien technology began to merge, creating a future neither species could have imagined alone.